Dear friends, so we will continue with our video lectures, and this video lecture on aliphatic nucleophilic substitution will be the first in the series of lectures which we will be doing on aliphatic nucleophilic substitution. In fact, there will be 5 lectures on aliphatic nucleophilic substitution, the different aspects like SN2 reactions, SN1 reactions, then neighboring group participation, then single electron transfer mechanism, and then we will discuss some problems in one of the lectures also. So, continuing with our lecture series on organic reaction mechanism, the first in the series is SN2 reactions. The SN2 reactions they take place at an aliphatic center, and these are the most fundamental reactions which we will deal in the synthetic organic chemistry. So what happens is that at a saturated aliphatic center of this type having a carbon and a leaving group, the nucleophile will substitute this leaving group and will get attached to the carbon. So such type of substitution reaction where a nucleophile is substituted on an electrophilic center is known as nucleophilic substitution reactions. So all these reactions, they involve the addition of a nucleophile to an electrophilic atom or ion. So based on the type of substrate and the type of nucleophile, we can have these different 4 types of nucleophilic substitution reactions. First category is where substrate is neutral and nucleophile is also a neutral entity. So for example, if we are having any alkyl halide and a neutral nucleophile having lone pair of electrons, or a nucleophilic center attached to a electrophilic center, but the system is a neutral system. So we will get these types of reaction products. This alkyl will get attached with the nucleophile, and this will be substituted, this X negative will be substituted. Similarly, second category is where substrate is neutral but nucleophile is an anion. So this is the most common one which we have seen in many cases. Alkyl halides, they react with say halogen anions, chloride, bromide, iodide, and in these cases the X will be uh, substituted by another anionic nucleophile, which may be halogen, or which may be hydroxide ion, acetate ion, or any type of anionic entity can substitute this X, which will be a leaving group, to give us another type of organic compounds. Then third category is that substrate is cationic and nucleophile is neutral. So here the X is having a positive charge, and this nucleophile will substitute this X, and we will get these types of products. Then fourth category is that where substrate is cationic and nucleophile is anionic. So this is cationic and nucleophile is anionic. So we will get neutral products from this type of reaction. So depending upon the type of substrate and nucleophile, will have a different types of nucleophilic substitution reactions. Now, one example in each case, this alkyl bromide reacts with trimethylamine. This is a neutral nucleophile, and we will get quaternary ammonium salts as the product. So this will be having positive charge, this bromide will be negative, so we will get quaternary ammonium salts as the product. Second category is, this is a neutral substrate and anionic nucleophile. So alkyl bromides, they react with hydroxide ion, we will get alcohols and bromide ion as the product. Third category is, substrate is cation, and this is nucleophile is neutral because of the presence of two lone pairs on the sulfur, and we will get these types of sulfur compounds, and trimethylamine will be uh, eliminated as a leaving group. Then substrate is cation and the nucleophile is anion, and this nucleophile will substitute this leaving group, we will get alcohols and trimethylamines as the product. So these are some of the common examples in each category of substrate and nucleophile. Then nucleophilic substitution reactions, they may be of these four types: bimolecular nucleophilic substitution, unimolecular nucleophilic substitution, then nucleophilic substitution internal as an I type of reactions. Then another category is unimolecular nucleophilic radical substitution. This is SRN1 type of reactions, and this is also known as single electron transfer reactions, and this is called as SET mechanism. So in different lectures we will discuss these mechanisms and the reactions of these categories one by one. So in this present lecture we will be discussing only SN2 type of reactions. Bimolecular nucleophilic substitution, in this case the mechanism of the reaction is that this is a concerted process and it takes place in a single step, and bond formation and bond breaking take place simultaneously, and the energy required to break the bond, this bond, is compensated by the energy released during the formation of this bond. And these reactions, they are called as bimolecular nucleophilic substitution reactions because the rate of these reaction is dependent on the concentration of substrate as well as nucleophile. So that is why these reactions, they are called as bimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. So we can see over here that rate of the reaction is dependent on concentration of alkyl halide as well as the nucleophile. Now introduction to these SN2 type of reactions, I got this video of University of Surrey.
Primary halogenoalkanes undergo SN2 reactions, where the S denotes a substitution reaction, the N shows the reaction involves a nucleophile, 2 is the number of species involved in the slowest rate-determining step. A nucleophile is an electron pair donor. It is attracted towards species carrying a full or partial positive charge, with which it can form a dative covalent bond. Consider the reaction between a hydroxide ion in solution and bromoethane. Both reactants are involved in determining the rate of the reaction in a one-step process. The hydroxide ion attacks the carbon atom from the opposite side to the halogen atom, because the bromine atom A is so large it impedes the approach of the smaller hydroxide ion, and B, it repels the negative charge nucleophile. The lone electron pair on the nucleophile forms a new dative covalent bond with the partially charged carbon atom to give an unstable transition state complex. The complex behaves like an umbrella blowing inside out as the bonds rearrange into a tetrahedral structure. A bromide ion, called the leaving group, is released. The transition state complex.
The bimolecular nucleophilic substitution uh, on the basis of molecular orbital diagram, we can explain that in case of SN2 reactions, the nucleophile with non-bonded electrons interact with the sigma antibonding orbitals of the substrate, and this is the lowest unoccupied molecular orbital LUMO, and this is highest occupied molecular orbital of the nucleophile. So interaction is between these two to give us the transformed product from the substrate through this transition state, where the nucleophile attacks from the back side of the molecule to have an overlap with the sigma antibonding molecular orbit. Similarly, the energy level diagram for these types of uh, reactions, SN2 reactions, the energy versus reaction rate can be explained that SN2 reactions, they are having a concerted mechanism, and there are two bond making and breakings which take place simultaneously through a transition state, and at this transition state the energy of the system is highest, and this much of energy of activation is required for conversion of the reactants into the products, and after reaching this activation energy, the bond breaking and bond making takes place to give us products where the leaving group is substituted by the nucleophile. The characteristics of SN2 reactions, that all SN2 reactions, they take place with inversion of configuration in the products. If we start with chiral reactants, and such type of complete inversion of configuration in SN2 type of reactions is known as Walden inversion. Then we have seen that the transition state involved in the SN2 reaction is a pentacoordinate transition state, and this transition state is sensitive to the steric hindrance present in the substrate molecule. So as the steric hindrance increases, it will be difficult for the nucleophile to attack from the backside of the molecule, and because of that the delta G will increase, hence the rate of reaction will decrease. So higher the steric hindrance, lower will be the rate of the SN2 type of reaction. Then transition state has substantial charge delocalization, and because of these charge delocalization, this will be stabilized by polar solvents. So that means the rate of SN2 reactions will be higher in case of polar solvents, which we will see in the subsequent slides also. Then rate of reaction is also factored by the ability of the leaving group, which will be removed during the reaction. So if leaving group can leave the substrate easily, then rate of reaction will be more. If leaving group will take time to be removed from the substrate, then rate of reaction will be slow. Then rate of reaction is also affected by nucleophilicity of the nucleophile. Higher the nucleophilicity, higher will be the rate of reaction. Now, first is stereochemistry of SN2 type of reactions. As I have told you that there is a complete inversion of configuration in case of SN2 type of reactions, and such inversion is called as Walden inversion. So here what happens is, say we are having this substrate 2-bromobutane, and because this is a chiral compound, and if hydroxide ion, which is acting as a nucleophile over here, attacks from the back side, then we will have this type of 5 coordinate transition state. And when after the transition state, this will be the leaving group, and the nucleophile will get attached to that side of the carbon which is opposite to which the leaving group was attached, that is bromide ion was attached, and because of that the configuration of the product will be invert of what we have in case of substrate. So that means if we started with S enantiomer of the substrate, we will get R enantiomer of the product. So such type of inversion is called as Walden inversion. So this is characteristic of SN2 type of reactions, that the nucleophile attacks from the back side, and there is an inversion of configuration at the central carbon atom of the product. And in the transition state, the electrophilic carbon and the three substituents, they are present, uh, they lie on the same plane as we have seen in case of carbocations. Then the backside attack of nucleophile, as I have told you, leads to the inversion in configuration, and this can be explained due to the constructive overlap which take place between the nucleophile and sigma antibonding orbital of the CX bond, which we have also seen in the previous slides also. So this is highest occupied molecular orbital, nucleophile having non-bonded pair of electrons, then lowest unoccupied molecular orbital of the substrate, that is sigma antibonding orbital. They are having this type of lobes, and there will be an overlap between these two, and X will be eliminated. So if we see this, that if nucleophile attacks from the back side, this side is overlap will be a constructive overlap. But if the nucleophile attacks from the front side of the molecule, then this overlap cannot be a constructive overlap. And if overlap is not a constructive overlap, that kind of bond formation cannot take place. So that is why the front side attack in case of SN2 reactions is not possible, hence retention of configuration is not possible, because the possibility of a constructive overlap is only there from the backside of the molecule, then inversion will take place, and such an inversion will be called as Walden inversion. Then some chemical proofs for inversion of configuration. One was given by Phillips et al. From these types of chiral reactions. He used optically active 1-phenyl propane 2-ol as the substrate, and this enantiomer was taken where the alpha D was plus 33. So this was dextrorotatory. When this compound was reacted with tosyl chloride, paratoluene sulfonyl chloride, then what will happen? This paratoluene sulfonyl chloride will react with H of this alcohol. So that means OH bond will be broken, HCl will be removed, and tosylate will get attached to the oxygen. We will get tosylate of this alcohol. Here, because there is no effect on this carbon oxygen bond, that means configuration of the substrate will be same as the configuration of the product. This was dextrorotatory, we will get the dextrorotatory product. So we have converted this alcohol into the tosylate of this alcohol on reaction with paratoluene sulfonyl chloride. When this substrate undergoes SN2 reaction in presence of ethyl alcohol and potassium carbonate, what will happen? This will act as a nucleophile, and this lone pair of oxygen will get attached to this carbon, and tosylate will leave as a leaving group. So that means ethoxy will be replaced by tosylate group, or ethoxy will be substituted by tosylate. So that is why we call it as a substitution reaction. Now, when this nucleophile will attack, now the nucleophile will attack only from the back side of the molecule, because on the front side we are having tosylate, and it is not possible for the nucleophile to attack from that side, because this will not give the constructive overlap. So when this gets attached on the other side of the molecule to which the leaving group was attached, then it was found that the value of alpha was minus 19.9. So that means here it was dextrorotatory, and the product form that was levorotatory. So that means an inversion of configuration has taken place in this case. Similarly, in another reaction, if this hydroxide is reacted with potassium metal, that means H will be replaced by K. We will get potassium salt of these alcohols, and because there is no change in the bond between carbon and oxygen, that means the configuration will remain the same. And when this salt is treated with ethyl bromide, that means this K will be replaced by ethyl, and now also there will be no effect on carbon oxygen bond. That means the configuration again will remain the same. This was dextrorotatory, this is also dextrorotatory. So we will get this ethoxy substituted product. And if we see the structure of these two, this is levorotatory and this is dextrorotatory. So on the basis of these reactions, we can say that when SN2 reaction takes place, the configuration becomes inverted, whereas in this reaction the configuration has remained same. So this proves that SN2 type of reactions, they accompany inversion of configuration or Walden inversion. Then another example of Walden inversion is that if we start with this alcohol, uh, this is uh, 2 hydroxy 2 benzylethane this is optically active, and if we react this with paratoluene sulfonyl chloride in presence of pyridine, then this oxygen hydrogen bond will be replaced by oxygen tosylate bond. So H from here and Cl from here, HCl will be removed. We will get tosylates of this alcohol. So this was having this alpha D uh, plus 33, and because there is no effect on this carbon oxygen bond, the configuration of this product also remained same. And when this reacted with acetate nucleophile under SN2 reaction conditions, that means this will be substituted by acetate, and when acetate will attack, then this acetate will attack from the back side of the molecule to which this leaving group is attached. So that means now the configuration of the product formed will be inverse. So when this dextrorotatory reactant was reacted under SN2 conditions, this changed into a levorotatory product, acetate, which was having the value minus 7.06. And then hydrolysis of this acetate will be done, and when hydrolysis is done, then hydrolysis will affect only oxygen acetate bond, but this oxygen carbon bond will remain intact. That means the configuration will remain same. So when hydrolysis is done, we will get this alcohol as the product, and we can see that this was levorotatory and this is also levorotatory. So this is also having minus value, this is also having minus value. And again this alcohol was reacted with tosylate chloride, tosyl chloride, paratoluene sulfonyl chloride in presence of pyridine, as we have done in the first step. Again this OH will be converted into tosylate, and then because here also the bond affected will be this oxygen hydrogen bond, and no effect on this bond, that means configuration will remain same as in case of the substrate. So this will also remain levorotatory. The value is minus 31. And if we compare this tosylate and this tosylate, here this was dextrorotatory, here it is levorotatory. And now if we do another SN2 type of reaction in presence of acetate ion, what will happen? This acetate will be substituted by this tosylate, and because now SN2 reaction is taking place, that means the nucleophile will attack from the back side of the carbon to which the leaving group is attached. So that means configuration of this will again invert, and now here this was beta, now the substituent, that is nucleophile, will be alpha. So this type of acetate will be formed, and the value which we found is plus 7, whereas here it was minus 7.06. So that means from here to here there is another inversion of configuration which has taken place. And when hydrolysis of this is done, then also oxygen acetate bond will hydrolyze and we will get our alcohol back. And because here there is no SN2 reaction, only this bond is being affected, that means the configuration will remain same. So this was dextrorotatory, this is also dextrorotatory. So this series of reactions, they also prove that during SN2 reactions there is an inversion of configuration or Walden inversion. Now steric effects As we have seen that attack of the nucleophile takes place from the back side of the molecule, and the rate of reaction decreases with increasing the substitution of the steric origin. So we can see over here, if we are having methyl bromide and I replace one of the hydrogen by a bulkier methyl, then because nucleophile is to approach from the back side, as we move from here to here to here I replace two hydrogens by two bulkier methyl groups. In this case I have replaced all the three hydrogens by three bulkier methyl groups. We can see over here that possibility of nucleophile to get attached to this carbon from this side becomes more and more difficult as we move from unsubstituted to monosubstituted to disubstituted to trisubstituted substrates. So as the steric hindrance increases, the difficulty of the nucleophile to approach this carbon also increases. So because of the difficulty of the nucleophile to approach the molecule from backside decreases, difficulty increases, that means rate of reaction will decrease as we move from unsubstituted to most substituted substrates. So that means steric hindrance will lead to uh, uh, decrease in the rate of SN2 type of reaction. So we can see over here also, if we are having a tertiary alkyl bromides, this is a sterically hindered, although this is a primary alkyl halide, but this is sterically hindered at the beta position, whereas this is sterically hindered at the alpha position. So if alpha or beta carbons they bear alkyl substituent, the rate of reaction will be lowered as the number of alkyl groups increase. So in tertiary, the rate of reaction is less than 1. In neopentyl, this is 1. And if one of the methyl group is replaced by hydrogen smaller group, in case of secondary alkyl halides, the rate of reaction increases because steric hindrance is less. And here in case of primary, steric hindrance is even more less than rate of reaction increases. In case of methyl bromide, there is no steric hindrance, the rate of SN2 type of reaction is very high. So steric effects, they are very much there in case of SN2 type of reactions, and rate of reaction increases as the steric hindrance decreases. Then those steric effects, they were in case of alkyl substituted substrates. It has been seen that in case of allylic and benzylic systems, there are conjugation effects, and these conjugation effects, they are due to electron withdrawing nature of the groups having say carbon carbon double bond. This is alkyl and this is allyl. So here because this is a carbon carbon double bond, and this has a an electron withdrawing nature because of the vinyl or phenyl ring. This is phenyl is also having electron withdrawing nature, hence reactivity towards nucleophile increases. Now, in case of allylic systems, they exhibit faster SN2 reactivity than secondary alkyl halides, because here these are secondary alkyl halides and these are allylic systems. In case of allylic systems, the bimolecular transition state is stabilized by hyperconjugation between the orbital of the nucleophile and this pi bond of the carbon-carbon double bond which is present in the allylic group. And because of this hyperconjugation between the nucleophile and these, the reactivity of allylic system is higher in case of SN2 type of reaction. And similarly, in case of benzylic system, the transition state is stabilized because of the conjugation with the benzene ring. So the pi system of the benzene ring, this enhances the reactivity of these SN2 type of reactions, because they stabilize the transition state leading to the formation of the products. And then SN2 type of reactions, they do not take place in these types of systems, vinyl halides or aryl halides. Why? Because the pi electron cloud of this vinyl or this aryl, this repels the nucleophile from attacking this carbon and removal of this halogen. And because of this repulsion, these SN2 types of reactions, they do not take place in vinyl or aryl halides. Then SN2 type of reactions, they are very much dependent on the type of nucleophile which we are using during the reaction. Stronger the nucleophile, higher will be the rate of the reaction. And we know that the strength of the nucleophile is based on following general characteristics. That an actively charged nucleophile is more powerful than its conjugate acid. So that means amide is a better nucleophile than the ammonia, and hydroxide ion is more powerful nucleophile than its conjugate acid, that is water. Similarly, alkoxide ions, they are more powerful than alcohols from which they have been derived. Then nucleophilicity generally follows the same order as the basicity, that these types of carbanions, that is trialkyl substituted, they will be more nucleophilic than dialkyl amines. So basically, as we move from in the period, the electron activity increases and nucleophilicity decreases. So this will be more nucleophilic than this, than this, than this. Similarly, this is the order for various types of nucleophile. Amide ion will be better nucleophile than alkoxides. These will be better nucleophile than dialkyl amides, secondary amine nucleophiles, aryl oxides than ammonia. So all these, they are better because they are negatively charged nucleophiles. Because whereas these are the nucleophiles which are having lone pair of electrons. So this is the order of decreasing strength of nucleophilicity of these nucleophiles. Similarly, nucleophilicity increases and basicity decreases while going down a group. So that is why iodide is better than bromide, than better than chloride, better than fluoride. And this is also due to less solvation and higher polarizability of the iodide in comparison to others. And similarly, this sulfide ion will be more nucleophilic than oxide. So polarizability, the order of polarizability of halogens is that iodide is more polarizable than bromide, than chloride, than fluoride. So we can see one example. This is iodide ion and this is our substrate, that is uh, where the nucleophilic substitution by molecular reaction is to take place. And here we can see that as the nucleophile is to attack from the back side, here the in the transition state this will be a more effective bonding, because the polarizability of iodide ion is very high, and because of that more effective bonding, the rate of reaction will be higher in case of iodides in comparison to fluoride ion. Because in case of fluoride ion, the polarizability is low, and the bonding between the substrate and the nucleophile will be less effective. And because of this less polarizability, nucleophilicity of F negative is less, and because of that, rate of SN2 reaction involving fluoride will be low in comparison to uh, reactions where iodide ion is involved in the reaction as nucleophile. Then another reaction which tells us about the increasing order of reactivity of nucleophiles is that when any nucleophile is reacted with methyl bromide to give us this SN2 type of products, then reactivity of this nucleophile was determined. The reactivity of water as a nucleophile, the rate was taken as 1, and in comparison to water, all other nucleophiles, they have this order of increasing order of reactivity. Acetate ion is more reactive than water by 500 times. This is 700 times faster than water. This is 1000 times faster than water. This is 16,000 more faster. Hydroxide ion is order of reactivity is 16,000 more than water. This methoxide ion is 25,000 more reactive than water, and this is 1 lakh times more faster than water. This is 1 lakh 25,000, and this is also 1 lakh 25,000 times faster than water as a nucleophile. So in comparison to water, we can very well imagine the reactivity of different types of nucleophiles in this case. Then is nature of the leaving group. That also affects very much the rate of SN2 type of reaction. We know that negative charge develops on the leaving group during the rate determining step. So in the transition state, there will be a development of negative charge on the nucleophile. So then if this negative charge is stabilized by the leaving group better than the reaction, then SN2 reaction will be a faster reaction. The rate of reaction will be higher. So better the negative charge stabilization by the leaving group, higher will be the rate of the reaction. So these are some of the leaving groups and their stabilization. Uh, Better leaving groups are mostly weak bases, which will stabilize the negative charge. So tosylate, mesylate, or triflates, they are very effective leaving groups, and because they can very easily leave the substrate, and if they can leave very easily, that means the rate of the reaction will be a faster SN2 type of reaction. Uh, in the presence of better leaving groups, SN2 reactions, they require a strong base. Uh, as I have told you that XH is always a weaker base than its conjugate acid. So X negative is a better base than XH. So XH will be, that means, a leaving group better, which will enhance the reaction. So HS negative is a better leaving group than this one. So this is the order of various types of leaving groups. Then acetic medium will also protonode the base, which will make them weaker. So that means if we are having alcohols, they will be converted into by adding the H positive ion, they will be converted into these positively charged bodies in the acetic medium, and these will be better leaving groups than alcohols. Then this is one example of increasing order of reactivity of different leaving groups. Uh, this hydroxide ion, the rate of reaction is less than 1. Alkoxide also less than 1. Imide ion less than 1. Fluoride ion less than 1. So as we move from fluoride to chloride to bromide to iodide, the rate of reaction goes on increases, and we can see over here, as I have told you, that tosylates they can leave very easily, and because of that the rate of reaction is very high, 6 into 10 raised power 4 times better than the fluoride or amide or alkoxy or hydroxide. So depending upon the nature of the leaving group, better the leaving group, higher will be the rate of reaction. Then is effect of solvents on SN2 type of reaction. As we have seen that the transition state in case of SN2 reaction is a charged species, because charge will develop on the leaving group as well as on the nucleophile. So because of that, polar aprotic solvents, they will increase the rate of the reaction. So we know that solvents, they may be polar or they may be non-polar. And non-polar solvents, they have the low dipole moment, whereas the polar solvents, they have high dipole moment. And examples of low dipole moment solvents, they are hexanes, carbon tetrachlorides, and even diethyl ether. They are the non-polar solvents, whereas in case of polar solvents, they may be of two types, aprotic or protic. So protic means the polar solvents having hydrogen atom, acidic hydrogen, which can form hydrogen bond with the uh, charged species. So example is water and alcohol, they are polar protic solvents, whereas polar aprotic solvents, they are hexamethyl phosphoramide HMPA, having this structure, dimethyl sulfoxide, dimethyl sulfoxide, dimethyl formamide, or acetonitrile. They don't have any acidic hydrogen, but they are polar in nature because of these double bonds. Phosphorus oxygen bond, this is having positive, this is having negative. This is having positive, this is having negative. Carbon is having positive, oxygen is having negative. This is carbon nitrogen triple bond. Nitrogen can acquire negative charge, carbon can acquire positive charge. So they are polar aprotic solvents. Now how they act? So what happens is, in the presence of polar solvents, they create a cage around the reactants, and this process is called as solvolysis. And this cage can be formed by protic solvents also and aprotic solvent also. In case of protic solvents, they stabilize the nucleophile, thereby lowering its energy, and this will raise the activation energy of the reactant. So when this water or alcohol, they will form a hydrogen bond with the nucleophile. So what they will do is they will form a cage around the nucleophile through hydrogen bonding, and this will lower the energy of the system. And if energy of the system is lowered, then the activation energy of the reaction will increase. And if activation energy of the system is increased, that means now formation of the transition state will require higher energy. So that means under these conditions, SN2 reaction, they will not be favored. So that means polar protic solvents, they decrease the rate of reaction in case of SN2 reaction. So they do not favor the SN2 type of reaction. Whereas in case of polar aprotic solvents, they selectively solvate cations only, and this will raise the energy of the nucleophile. And if energy of the nucleophile is increased, that means activation energy will be lowered. And if activation energy is lowered, that means SN2 reactions, they will be faster than in the absence of aprotic solvent. So that means aprotic solvents, they will increase the rate of SN2 type of reaction. So they will favor the SN2 type of reactions. So we can use polar aprotic solvents for enhancement of rate reaction in case of SN2 reactions. So through this graph we can see the effect of polar aprotic and polar protic solvents. We can see that the activation energy required for polar aprotic solvent is less as compared to the activation energy required for polar protic solvents. So lower the amount of activation energy required, higher will be the rate of reaction. So we can see over here that if we conduct this reaction, that N-bromopentane reacts with azidine as the nucleophile, we will get N-pentane azide as the product, and bromidine will be the leaving group in this case. And this reaction is performed with all these solvents under same conditions, and this is the rate of reaction which we have experienced. So methanol and water, we know they are polar protic solvents, and in case of methanol, rate of reaction is 1, in case of water it is 7. But as we change from polar protic to polar aprotic solvents, we can see the rate of reaction increases many times. So here it is 7, here it is 1300, 130. In case of DMSO it is 130, whereas here it is 2800 times better than methanol. And this is in case of acetonitrile it is 5000 time better than the methanol, and in this case it is 2 lakh time better than the methanol. So we can very much see the effect of polar aprotic solvents on the enhancement of SN2 type of reaction rate in comparison to polar aprotic solvents. Then is in case of SN2 reactions, we have observed some abnormal bimolecular substitution reactions in case of allylic systems. So if we see this allyl halides here, because of the delocalization of this pi bond into this carbon with the removal of this X, there is a possibility that nucleophile will get attached to a carbon other than to which the leaving group is attached. So if a normal SN2 reaction is to take place, then nucleophile will get attached to this carbon only. Whereas we can see in these types of cases in allylic systems, the nucleophile gets attached to a carbon other than to which the leaving group was attached. So such a reaction is called as SN2 reaction, or this is called as allylic arrangement bimolecular nucleophilic substitution with rearrangement. So this is an abnormal bimolecular substitution reaction, and here the nucleophile will attack the gamma carbon either from the side of the leaving group or from side opposite to it. So this is the leaving group, This carbon is alpha, this carbon is beta, this carbon is gamma. If nucleophile get attached to this carbon, we call it as SN2 dash of SN2 dash type of reactions, or this is called as allylic rearrangement bimolecular. So these types of reaction, they also take place in SN2 type of reactions. And then some more examples of SN2 type. As far as mechanistic part is concerned, these rearrangement, they can take place by three pathways. First pathway is that the nucleophile may initiate a direct anti-SN2 displacement of the leaving group from the saturated carbon. So if the nucleophile attacks from the backside of the allylic halide and get attached to the same carbon to which the leaving group was attached, then this type of pathway is a normal pathway, and this is called as SN2 type of reaction. Second pathway is that the nucleophile approaches the pi bond at gamma carbon atom with an anti-relationship to the nucleus. So this is the leaving group, and nucleophile attacks the gamma. This is alpha carbon, this is beta carbon, and this is gamma carbon. Nucleophile has attacked the gamma carbon from the anti side to which the leaving group is attached. So such a pathway is called as anti-SN2 dash pathway. Anti-SN2 dash pathway. This is 2 dash because the nucleophile has attached to the gamma carbon, not to the same carbon to which the leaving group was attached. So this is a rearrangement reaction. Then third type of pathway is that the nucleophile approaches the pi bond at gamma carbon with a syn relationship to the leaving group. So the nucleophile attacks the gamma carbon but from the same side to which the leaving group is attached. So this is alpha carbon, beta carbon and gamma carbon. Nucleophile is attached from the same side, and this is the leaving group. So such a pathway is called as pathway 3, or this is called as syn SN2 dash type of reaction. So this is also a rearrangement reaction. So pathway 2 and pathway 3, they are the rearrangement reactions. Allylic rearrangements bimolecular, SN2 dash, syn or anti, whereas the first one is a normal SN2 type of reaction. Thank you very much.